Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to yet another session of Sunday English speaking series powered by Shubh Language Academy. And I am your host, Dr. Jaivardhan Singh. And today's topic, as you can see, it is on homemade food versus outside food. To set the context, as always, the debate between homemade food and outside food often centers around health, convenience, and personal preference. Homemade food is typically considered healthier because it allows individuals to control the ingredients, portion sizes, and cooking methods. When preparing meals at home, one can choose fresh, organic ingredients, avoid preservatives, and reduce unhealthy additives like excess sugar and salt. This control can lead to a more balanced diet tailored to individual dietary needs. On the other hand, outside food, often associated with fast food or restaurant dining, offers convenience, especially for those with busy lifestyles. It saves time on cooking and cleanup, making it appealing for people juggling with work and personal commitments. However, outside food can be higher in calories, unhealthy fats, and sodium, leading to potential health issues like obesity and heart disease. Ultimately, the choice between homemade and outside food may come down to lifestyle and priorities. While homemade meals promote health and wellness, outside food provides convenience and variety. A balanced approach that incorporates both options may be ideal solution, perhaps, who knows? We'll see it in our discussion for the day, allowing individuals to enjoy the benefits of homemade food with occasionally indulging in the convenience of dining out. So that was a little context for today's topic, which is homemade food versus outside food. And I thank you all to have joined the session. Now, I would open the session for everyone. If you have something to share on this topic, you're most welcome. Please unmute yourself and tell as to what interests you the most. Is it homemade food or outside food, or do you strike a balance between the two, and how do you move ahead with that in your life? Yeah, Shubhachi, over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, homemade food obviously is the should be the first priority as we can eat like what according to our tastes. For example, I might less spicy food or less salty food, but if I buy it, I have no other option. I can't tell them to that you have to make this kind of food for me. So whatever will be made for selling, I have to have that. Okay, so the thing is, while having outside food, I can't have my choice or my taste. That is the first thing, and I call them commercial foods. And most of the food, which are not sold, they use it the next day. As a result, we don't get fresh food for most of the times. So the outside food has disadvantages more. The mainly like it affects our health in a negative way. It always affects our health in a negative way, and it also like affects the pocket as well. For homemade food, it's within my budget, but outside food, most of the times I won't get within my budget. If I want a good meal within 100 or 150, but maybe like the place where I'll buy the food will cost not less than 3 to 400 bucks. So in this way, it is not health friendly, not pocket friendly. So, but there are certain problems. The problem for homemade food is, as when you're always out for work, when you're busy, we don't get time to get the homemade food prepared. And nowadays, even at home, like I've seen, even the families they order food from outside, either from these dabba walas, those home service like where they basically sell meals
True.
because nowadays the life has become so fast. Even the wives have started working, so a family requires outside food. And with the increase in the use or in the popularity of apps like Swiggy or Zomato, where you can get your favorite food from a favorite restaurant, you can order them at home. Consumption of outside food has increased to a great extent.
True. True.
So
I think very
overall, I can conclude that I personally prefer homemade food, and I advise people to get homemade food. But if there's no option, we don't have any other choice. So because of this, because the life is changing, if you compare life 20 or 30 years back, and if you compare life now, and if you can, preview, if you can view the life that will be after 4 or 5 years, it will even more become more faster. It will become, more hectic. So in future, I can just see one thing: uh, outside food will become the first priority to people. That is what I can, predict. That's all, sir. Thank you.
True. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shubhashish. I think what you say in the end, that outside food is going to become one of the important conditions for us to sustain in this fast-paced society. Because as you rightly mentioned, that in a family, everyone is working. Of course, not the kids, but those who are competent enough to work, they have started putting their energies in the right direction, and they're being more professional outputs that are coming in way for them, and that's why they would delve more into their professional life and their jobs, and that would not let them have a lot of time to prepare homemade food. So that's how somewhere they would totally latch on to the outside food options that are available to them. And what you talk about, the fact that this is at such a easy convenience of having these outlets called maybe Swiggy or Zomatos that would deliver things just within 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes, and that helps you in moving ahead and balancing your life. So when you talked about juggling your personal life and professional life, I think outside food comes as a great help for people. But then, of course, all that glitters is not gold. It does have some negative impacts. So it's not pocket friendly either, because you have to really shell out a lot of money to purchase that kind of food, and that kind of taste and quality. Everything has to be managed in that amount. So, what is the take from your side, Subhashish? I'll again come back to you, because you said that it's not pocket friendly, and at times, when we are working, so it becomes difficult for us to sort of prepare food at home. And you yourself mentioned that in the next 30 years, you see the world going in a different shape, and outside food being a prominent part of a culture. So how do you see this homemade food culture vanishing and being replaced by the outside food? Do you think it is alarming, it is worrisome, or we cannot help it? What do you think on that, Shubhashish? Do you have any points on that, or anyone else for that matter? How do you see this evolution happening across?
According Sorry,
Yeah,
according to me, yeah, a change is taking place,
yeah,
and even nowadays, kids they prefer, even at home they prefer outside food more than homemade food. And I would like Shreyoshi, who is also present, being a small child, I would like her also to, because her mother also keeps on telling me that nowadays the kids they don't prefer homemade food. You give them outside food, they will enjoy, but you give them homemade food, it is very difficult to make them eat homemade food. So
true,
this is
true,
a trend and maybe necessity. As I told you, like there's a transformation of society and lifestyle and mentality of a people. So as a result, this is a trend that is coming. That is what I feel.
true, true. I think this is a global phenomena, Subhashish, what you're saying,
Yeah.
and it is not happening only in India or in villages. It's happening across the globe, in all the countries, in all the cities. And early, perhaps there were not many options available to human beings, to us, all of us, and the options were limited. We could only cook at home, and homemade food was the only option that was available. But now with a lot of involvement of multinational companies coming in and offering us all world food and international, you know, quality stuff has come into a larger picture of our existence. I see Pratibha. Pratibha, over to you. You want to share your points on that?
Yes, Jai, I
Yeah.
wanted to mention that this global trend is also mainly due to the influences, the social influences. If you just scroll down Instagram, you see a lot of food bloggers, who are paid for promoting restaurants. And I think the adolescents and also the adults who are consuming the social media much more than we can ever imagine, right? The current era is definitely more of social media savvy, I would say. So this is also due to this. And I think personally, for the as far as the fast food culture is considered, it is they know whom to target. They know that it's going to be they have to target the IT industry people who are living a very fast paced life, and also the working mothers who cannot sometimes afford to cook or hire a cook for every day. So the convenience for the sake of convenience, they have to rely on Swiggy and Zomato sometimes. Mm, but of course, yes, as someone in the meeting mentioned, they are not bothered about our health. When they prepare the food, They are bothered about is the taste, whether it's going to please the customer or not, taste wise, look wise. So that's why we say in restaurants, even I have even heard a Tamil chef say that for them the customers first should eat from their eat of their eyes, So it's all glittery because they pour in so much of oil, butter, or vanaspati, whatever it is. So that's how they attract the customers. They are not bothered what even if they are going to use a reused oil in mayonnaise, we are never going to know. We're never going to know whether it's a fresh oil or reused oil. Obviously, in restaurants, they do all kind of cost cutting to increase their profit levels. They are not least bothered about the customer's health. But thankfully, I would say the solution is slowly and steadily coming up. I see a lot of good salad companies sprucing up in Chennai, where you can avail for salad subscriptions with a nominal rate. Because usually the problem is all the fast food items like samosas or bhaji, vada, everything you get for cheaper rates. But if you avail for salads in the subway, you have to spend a minimum of 400 rupees or 300 rupees, right? But samosas you can get for 10 rupees or 15 rupees. Now I think slowly things are changing. Even in the corporates, they're trying to bring up varieties of millets in their cooking and kind of. And thankfully, as I said, there are also some nice subscription companies. And I don't know if you have heard about California Burrito. That's another fast food chain that's coming up with balanced meal where you see like a Buddha bowl concept. You have a bit of everything, right? Rice, a macronutrient source, a micronutrient source with lentils, protein, and all that. Hopefully, I think situations will get better because there are also good doctor influencers on YouTube who promotes good health, gut health, uh, you know I think people are now getting awareness about eating healthy food and home cooked meals.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Pratibha. I think very beautifully you have given us the whole picture of what is happening and where are we heading. So when you talk about the fact that it should first please our eyes, that's very important. That's very interesting at the same time because everyone is intrigued to take pictures of the food that they eat in the restaurants and the hotels, every place wherever they go, and they would sort of post these pictures and would tell everyone that that's what we are consuming, some international delicacy, some wonderful food. And that's true that it should please first to our eyes and then afterwards to the taste. It has to come afterwards, and then of course, if it is healthy or it isn't healthy, that's something that goes down, under the whole process, which at times goes so underestimated that we hardly pay attention to it. You also talked about the fact that it is cheaper when it comes to eat things which are pocket friendly. It can be samosa, it can be certain things that are available at small kiosks around the corner. Healthy eating and mindful eating is coming up in a big way now. But then, as we talk about the organic food or the millets that we're talking about, it's definitely and absolutely it is costly at this point of time. So when you talk about salads, that's true that this is a new option. At least an option is there. People would slowly and gradually understand the ill effects, the demerits of consuming food that is not good for their health, which might be, it might give a lot of pleasure to the visual appearance of the food, but slowly and steadily they have to understand that it might be cheaper in terms of price, but it is problematic at the same time in terms of its quality content. So moving and shifting towards a more balanced diet and going towards a food which is based on mindful eating and which is full of nutrition is more important. But you have rightly mentioned, Pratibha, that it is costly for the moment, but the good part is people have options. So those who can afford for the moment can transit and can switch over these kind of options, and slowly and gradually I think there'll be an awareness and people will be more alarmed and will have a lot of understanding as to what they have to eat and how they have to proceed. So that's great. Thank you, Pratibha. I can see Shreyashi. You want to say something, Shreyashi, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Healthy food make is very good for our health. It is used with limited oil. With with outside food, the food can be very tasty, but it will cause many problems like liver problem and stomach pain, etc. But homemade food is very good for our health. It is used with limited oil, but the outside food is used with a lot amount of oil and it is very bad for health. So I prefer healthy food or homemade food. I don't prefer outside food.
All right. Thank you so much, Shi, for sharing your inputs. So you don't prefer eating outside food, is it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what do you like the most among the homemade options? What is your favorite food at home? What does your mom cook the most tasty for you? Or maybe you are involved at times in the cooking process as well.
Chapati and rajma.
Okay, perfect. So something very basic, something very simple, yet full of nutrition and healthy at the same time.
Yes, sir.
Right, perfect. And what message do you have for people of your age? Because you're very young, I see. Which class are you in, Shreyashi?
Fourth grade. Sir, I'm
Oh,
in
you're
fourth
just in
grade.
fourth standard. Okay. So what message do you want to give to people of your age or maybe senior to you who are in school or in college? And what would you like to tell them? Because they're totally glued on to food which is available outside. So we can call it fast food or food at the restaurants. So is there anything that you'd like to tell them as to why it is not so good and they should avoid eating that?
Because they are very unhealthy for us and it can make us feel sad. When you feel sad, then we can't eat anything. When you have stomach pain or your problem, if you want to eat also you can't eat it. So I said that avoid junk foods or outside food and eat homemade food. It is very good for
Perfect.
health and it will make us very happy.
True, true. Wonderful. And just one last little question for you, Shreyashi. You said that your mom cooks wonderful food. Do you at times get involved in the whole process of preparation? Do you like that is also something important because when we eat outside, we are not involved in the process of preparation. But when you're at home, you can we as kids or we as family members, we tend to help in the process. So maybe setting the table up, or even for that matter, chopping or cutting or doing certain little things. So that also fosters the strength and bonding among the family members. So do you think that is important, Shreyashi, when we are in the house and we are among the family together, we tend to help each other?
Yes, sir, it is very important because it gives a communication and we stay at home and when we eat outside food all the dust of the air comes in the food and then it makes us very sick.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. I think that's very interesting what she is saying that we have to be really cautious and conscious of the fact that when we bring in outside food, how has it been prepared, as was mentioned by Pratibha, that we don't know the quality of oil, the kind of ingredients that has been used, were they fresh or were they stale or of what background were they? So we have no idea about it. But we are basically interested about the physical appearance of the food. That's the first and foremost thing. And then we move ahead with the taste and the quality part of it, the health, whether it's healthy or not, that is afterwards, and that is hardly thought about. So I think that's very important that we pay attention to these factors as well. Yeah, Shubhashi, you'd like to say something?
Yes, you just raised the points that like homemade food, it brings a closeness in the family. Like when you can contribute and can help the woman, maybe mother or wife who is cooking. It reminds me, this thing can be done on a communal basis as well. I remember when I was in
True.
Bangalore and I was staying in the Gurudwara, and they have langar. So,
Yes.
like, actually, I went there for treatment, for operation, and we were in the Gurudwara, and my mother and my brother were also there. So they used to, like make the chapatis and, like chop
Yeah.
vegetables for the langar. And on Sundays, when they had a big one where at least 2,000 to 3,000 people used to come for langar, it used to be a huge thing.
True.
All of us used to come, and the previous evening, people used to come and help in cooking and all. So what you told, like at the home level, in the domestic level, can also be done, and it also happens in some societies or in some contexts, like in this case, on a bigger scale, on like on a community scale.
True, absolutely. I think very interestingly, extended that point by you, Shubhashish. From family it starts to the community, and I think somewhere food plays a bigger role, a major role in fostering that communal harmony as well. When people try to understand and try to help each other, especially with the food process, because that is something that's so fundamental to all of us for existence, that would create some sort of links and connections for all of us, and would strengthen the community fabric in a totality. I think that way it will be marvelous to move ahead for fostering the strength of society through food. I think that would be wonderful as an option that we have for ourselves. What I would do is that I have tried taking up a video for all of you, as we talked about the fact that, is there a problem with the food or is there a problem with us? We at times think, this is not good for me, that's not good for me, but always blaming the food and not checking as to how our habits are, what are we doing, that is also very important. So I would just play a little video for you all. Please watch it, and we'll try to delve into the part that, is food really a problem, or am I not consuming it in the right way? Are there problems related to my habits as well? So that is what the whole idea about this video is. I'll share it with you. It's a private series, so I would just quickly share it with you. You would tell me if it's visible to you and if it's audible to you. I'll just quickly share it. Right. So it's an interesting series. It would talk about how the basic rules of food eating, especially with Indian context, they have tried to put it, and we'll try to see. I'll try to put these subtitles on so that it's clearly understood by everyone.
Hey, the Beer Biceps guy brings you TRS clips. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon.
Is it audible to everyone?
Yes, it is.
Right. Okay, great.
Also, look, I feel that like kind of the base of all this mental health, meditation, overall health, somewhere boils down to the basics, which is the fuel you're putting inside your body,
Right.
and the ways in which you're making your body move. So those are the two final verticals I want to talk to you about. Basics about nutrition, not like a diet plan or something, but what are kind of the golden rules when it comes to food for your body?
Okay. So I think, see, the main thing is like people love food. Okay. The problem is not with food. The problem is how we eat it.
Yeah.
We eat too much of it. So overeating is a big problem. We eat at the wrong times. We eat and go to sleep straight away. So we become more acidic. So if you really see, you can enjoy so many different foods if we just put the discipline of lifestyle to it, which means eat at the right times. Eat when you're really hungry, when your body's asking you food. If you're just full and you're just eating mindlessly, you need to know that you're upsetting the entire dynamics of the body and the intelligence of the body. So why do that? No one's stopping you from eating. Just eat at the right time and eat the right quantity. Why must you overeat? You can still have the same food that you like today, tomorrow, or the next week. But we try to get that into our system right now, at one go, because we're mindlessly doing these things. So I think if most people just start respecting food, okay, forget about diet food. In fact, diets don't work at all. I know so many people who eat what they want. They just have a discipline in their life. They don't overeat. They eat at the right times. They do a little bit of exercise. They sleep well at night, and they're fine. They don't have to diet. Diets are man-made.
100%.
There's money behind it. There's all of these things and stuff like that. So I think when it comes to eating food as well, we should eat when we're relaxed. If we eat when we're stressed, it's not working for you.
Something that really worked for me when it came to food, a big change for me was when I started I started following this practice of only eating when I'm eating. As in when I'm eating, that's all I do. I don't watch TV, I don't read a book. I just focus on the food, and it also makes the whole process a lot more enjoyable. You become very aware of when your body becomes full, and you're just more grateful for like the kind
Absolutely.
of food
That's
you're eating.
perfect. That's bringing me to my next point is we need to extract pleasure from food.
Yeah.
If the meal that we just ate didn't give us pleasure, it's not worked for us.
100%.
Because pleasure is it's a human emotion. You see, every human being is hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid pain.
Yeah.
In everything we do. You're trying to become the CEO of the company. Why? What is the underlying agenda? Okay, to seek pleasure. Pleasure from position, the money that you earn. Avoid pain of failure, not achieving. So when it comes to food, if we don't extract pleasure from our food, and the only way we can do it is when we're involved in our food. So if we can finish a meal saying, wow, I truly enjoyed that meal, it has worked for you, even if the meal wasn't a great meal. But people eat junk food with guilt. That, oh, this is bad for me and I'm going to have to work out in the gym. It's not worked for you. If it's junk, try to extract pleasure from it. Let it work for you. So these are the basics of, like look at the French, the Europeans. They enjoy food no matter what they do, and it doesn't affect them
Yeah, yeah.
because their mental state is so different, their approach. I think in India, we just have a bad relationship with food. We've
100%.
already tagged chocolate, ice cream as, oh, I'll gain fat. This is bad. That's bad. You can see, with the extreme diets in our country right now, the question I need to ask is, like, why isn't simplicity working? People were healthy before all these extreme diets came. So why do we need to make it more and more complicated? Because people are trying to fit into a cult. Whether it's the keto cult, I have nothing against keto and all of these things, but people are trying, the vegan cult, it's okay, do it, but do it with authenticity. Don't do it to, my question is, like, when you were eating food while you were growing up, if you were healthy, that's the same food you should be eating now. Why are you changing? Because after you finish breastfeeding from your mom, the food that your parents fed you grew you from a small infant to a young boy. It completed your brain growth, your liver, your heart, your musculoskeletal system. That food is information to your genes. It's in your genetic makeup. And if that food didn't make you sick, didn't make you fat, unhealthy, that's the food you should be eating. Your body resonates with it. But we're trying to search for new things, look for superfoods from South America and maybe it's good,
Yeah.
but is it necessary is the
Yeah.
question. So we got to keep it simple. There are people I know who eat samosas for lunch, roadside food and all of that stuff. People on the road, office people, sometimes they eat all of this roadside food. Look at their reports. They are clean. They're clean because they've accepted this is food. It's energy for my body. They're grateful for it. They move on with their work. But the people who are getting more health obsessed have all the possible issues
Yeah,
with their medical
100%.
reports because the mind is involved.
Yeah,
All of those things.
Yeah,
So
very often I see the people who give like the most health advice are the ones who are actually dealing with the most
people
problems.
who are obsessed with health.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they've become so obsessed, they found out they've removed simplicity from their life.
100%.
Like I say, health shouldn't be complicated. Our body's already designed to keep us healthy.
Yeah.
Now all I need to do is introspect and see what is affecting my health and
Yeah.
work on that. But we don't have to look for outside complicated solutions. They don't work. And if like health, literally, lifestyle is free.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you money to make a lifestyle change. But yet people are like looking for complication,
Yeah.
looking for more expensive things that they think can change their health.
I think through this video, we can clearly get the message that, of course, there might be a problem outside, which is with the food, but there are also problems related to the way we consume food. And what he rightly talks about overeating and eating at wrong times, eating at a moment wherein perhaps it's an urge to eat, wherein we are not hungry, but we have some kind of an anxiety, and it's mindless eating activity that we delve into, and we end up creating a lot of problems for us. We eat late, and then we go to bed, we sleep, and then the next morning or even in the midnight, there's a problem of acidity with people. So he has already, given us, he has walked us through that how even roadside food, which people eat, if they seek pleasure out of it and they say it's going to be good for my body, and it's all clean and pure, and it's going to do some good to my body, it would not affect the body negatively. So I think this message has to be passed on to ourselves too. And at the same time, he talks about the sense of pleasure. So the pleasure that we draw, because everyone in this world seeks pleasure. He talks about the fact that when we are in a position, we want to seek pleasure from the responsibilities that we are given, the kind of team that we have, the kind of financial benefits we draw from it. So everything is pleasure oriented. So how to make it a pleasureful activity wherein we don't take it under stress, but we enjoy our food eating habits as well. And something he talks about the fact that as children, we were eating certain things, and that always kept us healthy. So why not continue the same and do it in the same style? But of course, a little bit of changes can be made with the changes that we see across the environment, the planet, and how we can involve new food items. Especially, he talks about the superfoods. So they can be roped in, but at the same time, it has to be seen: are they really important, and do they make any sense for us or not? And there's some kind of a bad relationship he talks about. I really like to listen from your side as well, others, that this kind of a bad relationship. Oh, please don't eat chocolates. No, no, don't eat ice creams. It's not good for you. So that kind of a mindset has been pushed a lot among people. So how do you see that? Because on one side we are saying that it's not good to eat they are not healthy food, eating a lot of eating chocolates, and then saying a lot of chocolates is another thing. So eating chocolates, and on the other side we say that ice creams and sugary food, these are not good. But how do we create a new relationship with our food? So that's an open question for everyone. How do you see the relationship with food evolving for you personally, or in general in the society? How do you see that? I see Shubhashish. You want to say something, Shubhashish?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So
please.
the first thing is that a few things. Number one, in fact,
Yeah.
I also do that. Whenever I eat, whatever it is, lunch or dinner, I always keep my phone with me and watch videos. So my full concentration is on the video rather than what I'm eating. My mother keeps on coaxing me. My mother tells, "Do you know actually what you are eating? Do you feel the taste?" So this is not at all a right practice. Okay, we have to concentrate on food and we have to take time. And I take 5 minutes to have lunch and 3 minutes to have dinner, which is not
Oh,
at all good.
true. I mean, you're
Okay, I'm super
super
fast
busy
with my food.
perhaps. Yeah.
Okay, I
Right.
mean I can't sit with food for a long time. If full project lunch, maximum 7 minutes, and
Oh my
full
God.
project dinner, maximum 5 minutes, not beyond that.
All
So I
right.
can't sit with food long. I just finish up fast. So that
Mhm.
is a very bad habit. And like the space, like I'll eat once in the morning and then again I'll eat in the evening. This gap, it leads to gastric problems and gastric ulcer. But we have to do so because of, like as I told you, like a busy lifestyle. So we must
Yes.
have what science says that we must have at least 4 meals a day with a gap of 3.5 to 4 hours. And the breakfast must be heaviest, lunch must be middle, and the dinner must be lightest. This is the
Right.
food, science we can say we must follow to in order to keep ourselves healthy. But none of us follow this, and
True.
obviously, you know, thanks to TV and the YouTube and all, we concentrate more on that while having our food. So all these
True.
are
True.
obviously like although we are no we know these things, but still we are not practicing. In Bengali, there's a word called Ganpapi. You know the thing, but still you know that it's wrong, but still are practicing it. So these things we have to, control and implement in our life in order to maintain a good health.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think what you are saying,
Thank you, sir.
Shubhashish, is the fact that we all know, everyone is aware of the fact that it's not good, but we end up doing it for the fact that what you say is, I think, a case for everyone. We have such a busy lifestyle in today's time that while those 3 minutes of consuming our lunch, we want to make most of it and we want to watch a little video, maybe what's happening around the globe, what is happening in our domain, and we want to be updated. So eating food has become such a redundant and monotonous thing that we hardly pay attention to it, which is otherwise a great activity to enjoy what is being cooked and to discuss and to spend a good time. But even that time has reduced to a matter of few minutes. So 3 minutes to 5 minutes to 10 minutes is what we would spend while eating our food, which is such an important aspect of existence. But that's true. It's not just for your case. I think many of us are struggling with this time management, and we consider that eating food is such a passive activity that we can do anything at that point of time. So we can watch videos, we can read something, and we can keep ourselves busy in some other activity as well. So that is true when parents or people cook food for us, or even we cook food for ourselves. We have to relish it, we have to enjoy it, and that part has somehow gotten deleted from our complete process. So I think that's something that we have to think about. But then it's true that looking at everyone's current pace of working style, we are having limited time to enjoy our food. So that's true. That's a problem. We have to find solutions together. Let's see how we get over there. I see Pratibha. Yeah, Pratibha, over to you.
Yeah, regarding eating the food, relishing the food,
Yeah.
indulging in the food, and all that,
Yeah.
I think our Indian system and culture is made for it. Na? We have to use all the five senses. We use our hands. We are not supposed to talk. Usually, in the families, the Western culture is totally different. But in India, we say, "Oh, don't
True.
talk when you eat," right? So the whole concept is to concentrate. The whole concept is to be there and then not eat food and watching in front of the television. Or now recently it's more on phones. Even the parents do that, and the children copy. That's the thing. I think this has to go down. In the families, there should be some order when we eat food. They have to come up with certain rules, with with some which is firm and clear for the children and also for the family members to not use phones. Kind of. And other thing, when I wanted to talk about the happy food, all of us will have something that we like to have, even if it's a small cup of dessert. or something that we connect with our childhood, something that's not nostalgic. We can't avoid it. It's true that everybody
True.
loves samosas, and when you're sad, when you're depressed, people tend to overeat because they tend to overeat the food that gives them happiness, right? I think
Absolutely.
the concept is to bring in portion control. It's okay to indulge in samosas. It's okay to indulge in pani puris. It's like how many times I'm eating it, and or how many servings I take. That is more important. Until and unless it comes under the calorie intake for the day, I think it's good to go. Obviously, we live also for some pleasure, right? We live only once, we say, and that's the concept that people use to do all the when they smoke or drink or eat a lot of
True.
food, they say, YOLO, you live only once. Yes, we live only once, but it's also important to take care of the health. That is important in the process of living, right? So I think
True.
time to time it's okay to indulge, but with the right portion control. And also, I also wanted to discuss about the meal preparations. I think when we talk about homemade food in India, there is a misconception that when you prepare a meal and then put it in the fridge for a long time, it's going to lose all the nutrients. But recently, when I was going through some articles and also some talks that the doctors have, published on YouTube and other podcasts, they say that there are only certain nutrients that's lost, which for 1 or 2 days you can chop the vegetables and put it up for the salad. Obviously, you can't cut salad for salads. Cutting the vegetables is such a huge task. We can't do that every day. Maybe on Saturday and Sundays, if we can, cut the vegetables is a lot and put it up in boxes, we can use it for the next 3 4 days, and it's not going to lose all its nutrients, except for maybe vitamin C, which can be added through some nimbu juice, no lime juice. So I think Indian women should start being more practical when it comes to meal prepping. We can't expect to make fresh, hot meals every day because that will not work out. This is something to learn scientifically and understand the process and unlearn what is already taught about traditional cooking. It's well and good if we can make hot meals every day. Everybody loves to have fresh food, but at the cost of not at the cost of you know uh, ordering from the restaurants. We don't know whether it's fresh. Even in the big five-star buffet that I've been there, I'm served with previous day food. I'm charged 3,000, 4,000 rupees for the buffet, but I'm eating all the cold food that's put in the fridge. So it's not true that you get fresh meals every day from restaurants. So it's better to start analyzing the meal prepping techniques and the science behind it and go with it. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think very interestingly said by you, Pratibha. With the technological advancements that we have, available to us, I think we should make most of it, because on one side we are progressing in a way that we are trying to reach out to many people, and there's a change in the way we live. But what about the food eating habits? I think what you rightly mentioned is that we have to incorporate new manners in which food can be prepared, and it can last for a longer time. The way you say that if we can cut our vegetables or maybe salads on the weekends when we have more of time, and we can store it, and we can add in certain ingredients which can be put in later on, and it can still maintain the quality and the nutrients. I think that way it makes a lot of sense. And not only are we able to balance it with our professional life, because in the end it is the fast paced life that is troubling us somewhere, but at the same time we have to ensure that when the way we saw it in the video, that it's the fuel that we are putting in ourselves, and the way we would fuel it, it would give the energy out. So I think it goes side by side and hand in hand. So what you say is correct, that with these developments happening across everywhere, we have to also integrate new techniques of preparation, I think, which are smarter, healthier, and which are more beneficial for not only the one who makes, but also for people around. So I think that way a sensitization has to happen, and people should pass on new messages, because in the olden times, so of course there were no storage means. People couldn't have stored in refrigerators. We didn't have that. If we look back maybe 50 years back or 30 years back for some people, so they had certain processes that were done to maintain it for a longer time. I think we have come into this society of overconsumption that we would hardly go back to the food that was cooked yesterday, and we would think it's not good. So of course there can be certain criteria wherein it might not be good, but if we store it well, if we prepare it well, or we do it in a way, the way you say, that you chop it, you cut it, and you store it, and you can use the ingredients which are chopped and cut previously, but they haven't lost their value, can be used in the days to come, so that you save on your time, and you can actually focus on things that you would want to do afterwards. I see Shubhashish, and then we'll quickly go to Pratibha. Yeah, Shubhashish, would like to say something?
Yes, what Pratham ma'am has rightly said, this
Yeah,
chopping and peeling
yeah,
is matters a lot. It just reminds me of a video that I saw where I don't remember, it was a huge gurudwara that feeds at least 50 to 60,000 people a day, where the cutting and all were done by machines. Like they put the potatoes inside huge machines, and peeling and chopping is done by the machine. So you cannot maintain that, that hygiene, like
true,
that is
true.
what just came to my mind. So in
Yes,
big
yes,
places like where machines are used for chopping and all, so we can't maintain that thing.
true,
And
true.
just one small, the last part of a story I remember, if you read the story, the man who knew too much by Alexander Barron.
Yeah,
I don't know if you read the story or not. The last part was, the sergeant who was in the army. He showed his knowledge to such an extent that as a punishment, he had been given the charge of the canteen. And then he keeps on shouting. He shows his knowledge over there also, that I will really complain about the unhygienic way of peeling potatoes.
right.
Right, sir.
Absolutely.
That's
No, no,
what I wanted to actually comment on Pratibha ma'am's thing. Like when this is
true.
done in a hurry, or when this
Yes.
is done by machines, this thing cannot be maintained, and that is also because of technology and like of the and because of the fast life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Shubhashis. I think
Thanks, sir.
technology has to be integrated in all the processes, and even if it is in terms of cooking food, why not? We have moved from grinding and peeling things from manual processes to the machine-made processes now. So that is the transition that we see these days. Yeah, Pratibha, over to you.
Jai, do we have time? I don't know if.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We do.
Okay,
Please. Yes, please.
fine. I just wanted to add on to the meal preps. I think people, when we do the meal preparation, for instance, say on weekends, we should also be ready to consume the same salad for the next 5 meals. So it is, in a way, there is also research that it's good to have the same meal for every consecutive 5 day, because your body is learning from it. Your body is trying to adapt and know that, okay, I'm going to have this, and process the nutrients as such. And it also helps us to avoid the decision fatigue. We have a human being normally can make only certain number of decisions in a day. If we go over that, it's going to mentally be very charging. So meal prepping, and even the Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg, he wears the same T-shirt every day for the simple reason that he wants to avoid taking a decision, because human brain is so powerful and so weak at the same time. In certain cases, I would say we are powerful yet, yes, but humanly possible decisions are only certain number of decisions in a day. So imagine if you're prepping your vegetables on a weekend, and 5 consecutive meals is going to be the same salad with maybe different dressings, and you prepare all the 5 dressings in the fridge. It avoids a huge decision fatigue, and we have to kind of seek help from the family and tell everyone straight that this is going to be the meal. And there are people who are not even having access to proper food, and we are getting the same meal every day. It's also going to help us in the weight loss or whatever, in a healthy routine. It's how we bring up the family and how we try to make them understand, and ease the process. And one more thing, I think in Indian society, at least women should start, and also men should start valorizing using the dishwasher, using the technology in the right sense. I still see women struggling with vessel washing, or even men with vessel washing who are living alone. If we there is technology, try to make use of it. It saves a huge time and lot of body fatigue, and things from your side, because everybody is working, and in a family everyone needs to work to make up for the family, not just to make the to just to win the bread and butter. It takes a lot to run a family in this current generation. So we have to make use of the technology in the right way. And if we are expecting variety, the other psychological thing is to add a lot of color to our food. And how can we add color to our food? By having a lot of different varieties of vegetables and in different colors, and different variety of fruits in different colors. This definitely adds some, obviously when you see a bowl of salads with different colors, it's appealing. We need not take the techniques of the chefs where we have to make it more appealing, adding oil, making it shining and all. It's already colorful, and your brain will ask you to eat it. It's healthy, it's good for your health, and you feel very good about it once you have a very healthy meal. And over the period of time, we say it takes 21 days to build a habit. So by the end of a month, we'll definitely say, psychologically, we ourselves will say no to all junk food. We'll limit ourselves, and we'll prefer more of home cooked food. All it takes is 30 days or 21 days to set your mind, and it can happen only by layer. It can't the miracle cannot happen overnight. The change comes from us, and we have to slowly move our family towards it. It's not that one person is eating the healthy meal, other people in the family can eat whatever they want. No, we have to collectively make the change in the family, and that will be the long time success. That, because if I'm the only person eating healthy food, and if everyone is preferring to have samosas and every time they want to go out and eat, it won't work out. We have to collectively bring the family members towards this path. They can say, no, I have eaten this all my life, it gives me happiness. But it's our responsibility. If one person is enlightened, it's the responsibility of the person to enlighten the others in the family. That's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very beautifully said, Pratibha. I think the way you mentioned these 2 points, which go so unnoticed at times, the mental fatigue of taking decisions, of course, and then also the fact that there's a physical fatigue involved in the whole process of cooking. It can involve, when you talk about washing dishes, doing dishes, that is again a process that is an integral part of the whole bigger process. But how to reduce it? So I think with the intervention of technology, wherein we have dishwashers or we have other ways in which we can reduce that work, and also at the same time, when you talk about the mental fatigue of thinking, what am I going to cook today, tomorrow morning? Every time there is this decision that comes up, and we have to think about it as to how we have to go about it, and that is really troublesome for people who are actively involved in taking those decisions. So I think it's important for everyone to understand that if we repeat certain things, it's good for us. And the way you say that our body gets adjusted to it, and in a span of time, we also understand how we react to those kind of food items. So that's very correct what you say. So thank you for that intervention, Pratibha. And at the same time, the way you say that the color scheme, I think that's catchy, that's exciting. But at the same time, it is the variety of food items that we have chosen to prepare the food. So that also plays a big role. And the fact that you say it's not just one person's responsibility, it's a collective responsibility. So if I'm the only one who's eating healthy food in my family, that also gets me under that pressure, that what about others? I mean, I have to really take care of everyone. So I think one person has to be I would even use the word that the bad person in the family who is behind everyone. No, you have to eat healthy, you have to eat this, you have to go for, doing certain physical exercises. And slowly and gradually, I think the 21 days span is a good one, wherein one starts to understand, okay, it's good for me, it's bringing some change in me, and I would now follow it furthermore. So I think this whole thing was beautifully said. Thank you, Pratibha. Moving
Thank you.
ahead, I can see Arvaz, you would like to say something? Arvaz, I see your hand raised. Maybe. Yeah. Can you hear me, Arvaz?
Can you listen?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah, yeah. I can. Yes, I can listen to you now. Please go ahead.
topic is homemade food and outside food. It is very
Yes.
important topic. Thank you for this opportunity. I want to say about homemade food. I like homemade food better than outside food. So all people like to eat homemade food. Homemade food is very good for health. It is not uh, a spice. It is not ever a spice in the. It is original food. I think uh, when I was a child, I used to eat in my home. At home, we we uh, we eat not uh, outside food. So, but I have to uh, outside. But I have to eat outside food. Actually, I have no time. So when I have no time, so I have to eat. I could not make the food. So thank you, sir. This-
Thank you, Arbaz, for sharing your inputs. Absolutely, it's a personal choice, but definitely with passage of time, as we move ahead, as everyone is saying that the fast-paced life has really put us in this situation. We have to struggle with preparing food at home, so we would move rather easily towards outside food. But of course, that kind of sort of balance has to be made and move ahead. And before taking up further points, I'll just quickly share my screen. I thought of putting some points wherein we see that how there are new strategies or new marketing gimmicks they are taking place. And the way we were talking about the fact that it's even by the companies that they push uh, certain foods towards people, considering them good for them, or maybe the way they are being presented, it becomes catchy and attractive for us, and we end up having them by completely not paying attention at the quality aspect of those food items. So supersizing, as we see that these days, we think about the moment companies are pushing their, large size pizza, or for that matter, the king size burger. So they would always dash on these kind of terms like king size or super size. So these terms are the larger portions, because Pratibha talked about you would have these smaller portions of eating, but it is just the opposite of the same, that they're pushed to have larger portions. That would have an extra cost, and it would lead to higher calorie consumption, and of course that would have a lot of health disadvantages later on. Then at the same time, we talk about value meals. There's a lot of combination wherein we buy a certain thing. It is coupled with maybe French fries, and there's some cold drink attached to it. So everything becomes as a value meal, and they try to show if you have it, it's going to be cheaper for you in terms of rent. But of course, it we end up having more of calories and more of ill effects on our health by consuming these food items, which are termed under value meals. We also have sugary drinks, the refreshing ones, and thirst quenching. So we see these kind of labelings that are being done to attract everyone, youngsters, old people, everyone, and the kind of publicity that they do, we end up buying at least one to try what these sugary drinks are. Then convenience food, of course, these are the fast foods that can lead to poor nutritional choices, but they are quick and they're easy to eat, easy to buy, and that does help us in some or the other way. Moving ahead, we have food marketing for children. We have seen that these days the word playful and fun-filled are used to attract consumers, and especially like the children, the little ones. And through advertising and promotion, they would end up eating these foods, because as we saw, that the kids, whenever we take them out, they would not be interested in eating the homemade food. When we are onto a picnic or in a family gathering outside somewhere, they would really want to have something that is based on their taste, and which can be spicy, and which has to be tangy. It has to be in a way that the flavor and the taste has to be in relation to what they like mostly. Something very unusual I find among children these days is they would say that the homemade food is spicy, but they can munch on the spicy chips for the whole packet, I would say. So this is something that's very unusual, and that happens a lot these days. We see with kids. Also, we talk about snack wraps or smaller portions, in a sense that they would push you to eat certain quick things which are low in nutrients, and they are marketed as healthier choices, but in the end, they have higher calorie content. Then mindful eating is important. It comes as a great savior, as a great help. just to ensure that what we are eating is not only having texture, I'm sorry, the taste, but also the sensation. But at the same time, it is important for us to eat in the right way. So it's mindful eating. We know what we are eating. So, as Shubhashish was saying, that at times people tend to watch television, or they would want to latch themselves on their mobile phones, watching videos, and they eat. So that kind of an eating is totally, the mind is lost. So it's like a mindless eating we are doing, and we don't know what we are eating, and it doesn't do a lot of good to our body either, because it's not being consumed in the same way. And then cooking methods, what Pratibha said was right, that you can change your methods and you can incorporate new techniques, and you can make it more healthy and more efficient in terms of the cooking pattern. Then listening to body is very important. When I'm hungry, I need to eat, and not otherwise. So this is a discipline that has to be incorporated, which comes with practice, which comes with a lot of discipline and understanding. So I think that is also very important in getting back to the right routine. Then choosing seasonal foods and local foods is very important. And in the end, food labels. So when was the packaging done? What are the ingredients? Is it good for me? If it is not good for me, we have to ensure everything should be correctly done, so that we end up having food for ourselves and even for children in our family. So I think if certain measures are adopted, I think we can always mm, come up with solutions which are good for us and for our family as well. I see Shreyashi, you want to say something, Shreyashi?
Yes, so what's meaning of emphasize?
Sorry, what is the word?
Emphasize.
Emphasize means to put stress on. To put stress on. We emphasize on something. We put stress on. We give importance to something.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Right? Perfect. Okay, great. So any other points from anyone's side? Because we are towards the end of this session. All right. So I think we are towards the end, and we would wrap the session up now. But again, coming back to the point, yeah, I think Shivashish has to say something. Yeah, Shivashish, over to you.
Yeah, just one thing now,
Yeah.
from homemade food to outside food, I would like to raise one question about the choice
Yeah.
of food. Some people say that veg food is more healthy, some are non-veg is not good, some says fruits. So according to you, like, which is the right choice of food?
Now, according to me,
Yes.
okay. So I think I'll go back to the fact
I
that
think if I'm not mistaken, you're a vegetarian.
now, see, it all depends on to since we are into foreign languages and we have to travel abroad. At times, we
Uh,
have to move accordingly as per the situation. But then I try to keep my food in the most in the simplest manner. So the way Shreyashi said, I would like to eat rajma chawal. That's what my take. That eating basic food, simple food, which has all the nutrients involved, I think that would serve the purpose. So what you asked the question, Shubhashish, is a I would respond to that by saying that whatever suits you, um, one can eat. There's no problem about it. But I think a conscious eating, a mindful eating is the only step that we can move ahead with. So eating at the right time in right portions, eating when we really need it, and not it should not be an emotional eating, which we tend to delve into when we have a lot of emotional turmoil going on. So I think it is a practice, and something that I think you said, and even Pratibha said, that it is something that has to be taught to kids from a very young age. That eating is not something really monotonous. It is something very mindful, and people should respect it. Not only how it is done, but what are the attributes related to it. When someone is cooking, how do we involve ourselves? When something is being made and presented to us, how do we eat it and how do we appreciate it? So I think it's a bigger picture that has to be seen. It's just not the food and me, that these two people are there and we are eating it and that's it. No, I think there's a bigger picture associated to it. That's how I see it, Subhashish. To respond to your question, that it starts from your own personal thought process. How do you see food? One, how do you want to move ahead with it? And then it's a training process. I think we fail, largely we fail as we think eating food is so basic that we hardly pay attention to it. But I think it's a training process. It has to be done in a way that is mindful, what has to be eaten, what has to be avoided, and how it has to be eaten. I think how is very, very important at the same time. How much should I eat and when should I eat? So I think it's a process, and we all
mm.
have to do it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shubhashish. And I think Pratibha, in the end, we'll take your quick point.
Yeah, yeah. Just I wanted to add on that eating and sleeping at the same time and the right time every day is the most challenging and the most indispensable thing that you can do in this current era. That's always been there. Even in the workplace, it's very difficult to eat at the same time every day. That's the most challenging. I think if we correct these things, and if even the employers appreciate the fact that we are all eating at the right time and every day, it's a good move to encourage people for a healthy living. Yes, something I
Absolutely.
I hope things change slowly.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that is something interesting in the end that you say, Pratibha, that sleeping well and eating well, they are indispensable parts of our existence, but they are so underestimated that we hardly pay attention to them. So I think this is the time that not only for ourselves, but also for people in our entourage, we have to work for them, and we have to tell them that whether you go for homemade food or outside food, but less of outside food, but be really alert of what you're eating. And I think mindful eating can save all of us from all the ill effects of food that we have around us. So with that, we have come to the end of today's session. I thank everyone for your kind and active participation. And I hope you all take care of yourself and you eat well and stay happy and healthy. Thank you. See you in the next time, in the next series. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank
See
you.
you.